Welcome. Wow, this is one of a kind. This one, I'm sure you never saw this one coming. This is a collaboration episode, and it's going to be, about probably 2 or 3, right? And we are collaborating with Iyanuoluwa Glory. So the iconic vault collaborating with Iyanuoluwa Glory, as she brings on a series titled The Makeup of a Solutionist. The Makeup of a Solutionist. So that is the main theme. So there will be subtopics anyway. So I want you to pay attention to her. The next voice you'll be hearing is hers. Yeah. It's hers. I want you to pay rapt attention. I want you to write down. I want you to listen, because this is not ordinary. When I heard it first time, I was like, oh my God, this is, I told her literally that I've read a lot of things. I've watched a lot of things. I've listened to a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things. But the way she is bringing this one, oh my God, I have never in my life heard of it. I have never, ever. So, oh my God. So you just need to listen. You need to listen with your mind open and with your books open as well. Listen, write down, take notes, see beyond the line, see beyond every word that she says. And yes, let me leave you to enjoy the rest of this episode. Thank you.
Thank you so much, the creative icon, for having me. Thank you. All right. Yes, I'll be speaking on the topic, the identity and character of a solutionist. Now, before I go deeper into the topic, I want us to start with the word solutionist. The general definition for the word solutionist or the identity solutionist is someone that solves problem. Now, let's look at that definition again. Someone that solves problem. The most important word there is problem, because that is what we are dealing with, right? That means there is problem before solution. It is because of the existence of problem, that is why we have solution. It's because problems exist, that's why we have solutionist, right? So that means we need to know the problem before we can provide solution to it. But then there's something that comes between the knowledge and the solution that is being provided, and that is understanding. That means, yes, we need to know the problem, but we also need to understand the problem. If understanding is not in the picture, it will be hard for us to provide solution to it, because you cannot do anything with something you don't understand. Yes. Now, some people, when they get to know about a particular problem, they tend to worry about it, they tend to lament, they tend to start crying about it without trying to provide a solution to it. Now, that is wrong. That is definitely not why we are here. We are actually here to even talk against stuff to talk against actions like that, right? The mind is not just there for us to use to lament, to worry. No, the mind is there for us to think. Thinking about a problem is not a waste of time. Thinking about a problem is not is not wrong. In fact, it is the right thing, because when you think about a problem, it means you are trying to understand it. So, as someone who wants to be a solutionist, so let me say, as a solutionist, never take away the aspect of understanding from that problem you are trying to solve. Yes, you know it. Yes, you have to know it. But then, do you understand the problem? Do you understand the concept of the problem? Do you understand what brought about the problem? Do you understand how the problem works? Do you understand what makes the problem progresses? Do you understand what will make the effect of that problem to intensify? Do you know things like that? We need to understand things like this for us to be able to provide a solution to it. Now let's make use of the Bible. Genesis chapter 1, when God created the heaven and earth and every other creations. Before that happened, there was a problem, which was that the earth was without form and void. That was a problem. Now, God saw that God knew the problem. He saw the problem. By seeing it, he was able to know about it, right? Now it was because he saw how bad that thing is. It was because he saw how bad the problem is. Because it was because he saw that this thing, he understood that nothing will come out of this, in the sense that nothing good will come out of it if there is no change. That was why he was able to move further by what? By creating different things that we now see today. If understanding was not in place, if we did not see that thing as something that is wrong, as something that needs a solution, that needs to be changed, let me put it that way, there's no way we'll be able to bring a solution to it. So if you are seeing a problem and you are crying, you are lamenting, it means you are not seeing the reason, you're not seeing any reason for you to profile solution to it. You're not seeing any reason for it to change and to become something better. That is why you are remaining in that position. But the moment you begin to see that, yes, this is a problem, but can I create an opportunity from this problem that I'm seeing? Can this problem change? Can there be a change? Can this change to this? Can this? When you start thinking like that, you are trying to understand the problem, because it is when you see that that problem can change from becoming a problem to not becoming a problem again, that when you start seeing things like that, you are trying to understand it, because that stuff is part of the problem. Do you get my point? So never ever ever accept the ideology that thinking about the problem is wrong. It is not wrong. When you say you are thinking about the problem, just know that you are trying to understand the problem. And remember, you cannot solve that problem without understanding it. It's not possible. It's not possible. Right? Alright, so let's move on. Okay, let's make use of this other example. Now, when secondary school or primary school, I don't know. So the let me make use of those times where we get maths assignments. So then some of us used to copy our classmates when we see that we do not understand a particular math problem. We just copy them just so that we can get an assignment submitted, right? Now you notice that it's because you do not understand that math problem. That is why you could not solve it. But the moment when your teacher or your classmate or your friend begins to explain that thing to you so you can understand, you'll be able to know how to come in. You'll be able to know where to come in. You'll be able to know what exactly you need to do. You'll be able to know what exactly you need to consult, the topic, the textbooks you need to consult. You'll be able to know the angle in which you are meant to come through. Do you get my point? So it's because understanding was in place. That was why you were able to solve that math problem. That was why you moved from becoming someone that used to score 0 over 10 to someone that started scoring 10 over 10, 9 over 10, 8 over 10. Do you get my point? Just for you to understand how important understanding is. So for you to understand a problem, you need to know the identity of that problem. Yes. You cannot say you understand it when you don't know the identity of the problem. It's just like saying you understand me, you understand the way I think without knowing my identity, without knowing certain things about me. So before I talk about the identity of your problem, let me talk a little bit about identity and character. We've spoken about solutionist, right? Let's take the other aspect of the topic, which is identity and character. Now, I want you to understand that identity cannot stand alone. It must stand with character, because that is when we can have a balance. You cannot say you are the light of the world without you showing us that you are truly the light of the world. Because we are more concerned about your character, not just about who you say you are. So identity answers the question who, while character answers the question what. So what makes you the light of the world? That is what we're interested in. So you can see that if you are saying you are this, you are that, it does not make us believe instantly. No, we want to see how you talk. We want to see how you relate with people. We want to see how you speak. We want to see all those things about you, so that we can be sure that you are truly who you say you are. The character is what makes us know more about the person. The character is the reflection of someone's identity. It is when you act. Okay, it is the proof of who you say you are. Let's put it that way. Your character is the proof of who you say you are. So whenever you are saying you are something, you are this, you are that, make sure your character is also telling us that you are actually that person. Because it should just be as if you are lying, you are living a fake life and all of that, right? The identity of your phone can be iPhone 15 Pro, but the character is what makes that phone iPhone 15 Pro. In the sense that, okay, the advanced camera system, the charging port, and many other features, those things are what we show us or let us know or make us know that this is actually iPhone 15 Pro. When you keep saying yes, this is iPhone 15 Pro, but you're not telling us why it is actually iPhone 15 Pro, we will not believe you. Even for every upgrade, for every upgraded version for a phone, they would always tell us that these are the features of this phone. It is these features that help us know that, okay, yes, this phone is actually an upgrade of the previous version we have before. Do you get my point? So character is just like a foundation. Yes, we have a particular house. The house can be the identity, but what makes that house what it is? You say it is a strong house, it is this, it is that, but it's a foundation that would prove to us that yes, this house is actually very, very strong. So the character is just like the foundation. And just like how you cannot build a house without a foundation, both must stand together. That is how identity and character must also stand together. They cannot be apart. They must be together. So that means if I'm saying this is the identity of a person, this is the identity of problem, that means I must also tell you the character of that problem. Do you get my point? Now, the identity of a problem is that problem is a living thing. Yes. Problem is a living thing. Yes, just like how you are a living thing, just like how the creative icon is a living thing, just like how I am a living thing, problem is also a living thing. Now, during our science class, then primary school, junior secondary school, right, they told us that living things we have characteristics of living thing, right? So, and what they told us then is that we can make use of the mnemonic Mr. Ninja to explain who a living thing is. So that's just to prove that, okay, yes, we can have the identity, but we need to have the character of the identity, characteristics of the identity. So character was taken from the word characteristic, so we can still go with that, right? So the characteristics of living things are Mr. Ninja: movement, respiration, nutrition, and all of that. I'm sure we still remember. If you can't remember, just go to Google to refresh your memory, but I'm sure we all remember that, right? So if I'm saying problem is a living thing, that means I must also prove to you that I must also be able to tell you how that problem can move, how that problem can respirate, how it can feed, and all of that, right? Because the characteristics of living things we have should align with the characteristic of problem. But let's go with character. So problem is a living thing, that's the identity. Now the character of problem is the Mr. Ninja. Of course, I'll be explaining to you, I'll be showing you how it is truly the character, right? But I want you to understand something. I'm not saying this, I'm not trying to show you this so that you'll be able to see that, wow, this girl can think. How was she able to come up with this? That means the Holy Spirit is really at work in her, blah, 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 and all of that. No, that's not the main idea behind this. The main idea, remember, is to help us understand problem. And to help, remember I said the main purpose of this, of course, is to raise solutionists, right? But we cannot raise solutionists when we don't have understanding of what we are actually against, which is problems, right? So the main purpose is for you to understand problems. So as I'm talking about this character, it is for you to be able to pick certain things that would help you understand problems better. And trust me, these characters are things that you can apply to any problem out there. Yes, it is general, just like how we have living things, right? We have different men, different women. Glory is there, Sumbo is there, Fetia is there, different women, right? Favor is there. We have different, but then we still have a characteristic of this living thing. We still have a general characteristic, right? Yes, we have specific characteristic, but we still have general characteristic. And there is no way you check every living thing that you not find each of these characters at work. There is no way. It is not possible, except that person is not a living thing. Do you get? So that is the same way it applies to problem here. So I want you to, for whatsoever problem you are trying to solve, for whatsoever thing you want to bring solution to, I want you to look at this thing and try to apply it with it. Do you understand? So now we are starting with the first character, which is movement. Mr. Ninja, right? So let's start with movement. How exactly does problem move? Does it have legs? Does it have hand? Does it have We understand now. So yes, just like how living things can move, problems can also move. I want you to understand that problems are not static. The reason why you even know that that thing is a problem is because it has moved to where you are. It has made itself to be seen by you. It did not just disappear right in your presence. No, it did not just come to where you are just for you to notice it. No, it moved from somewhere to where it is. Do you get my point? It moved from somewhere to where it is. So that's, if that alone is a proof that problems are not what they are not static. If that problem cannot move, you will not be able to feel the pain. You will not be able to, you will not be affected by it. You will not worry over it. People will not tremble because of it. People will not feel anything because of it. But because it was able to move to where they are, that is why they can what? That's why they can cry, they can lament, they can worry, or think. That's what solutionists will do, right? Think to understand it. So problems are not static. Problems will not remain there just because no one is trying, just because no one is paying attention to it. No. In fact, if you are not paying any attention to a particular problem, if you are not trying to find a way to solve a particular problem, it will move to become more problems. It will not just keep existing as that problem. When you check it later, you see that this thing has intensified. This thing has gotten more. This thing is now worse. Just like Nigeria now, there are certain problems we had then. Problems about the economic area and all of that. But then when we look at it now, it was not the same way it was then. Things has changed, and it did not change for better. It changed. It did not change to get better. It is actually worse now. The aspect of, is it the fuel price we want to talk about? Is it the education system of Nigeria? Is it the economic system of Nigeria? Things are not the same way it was, because no one paid attention to it when it was still a little problem then. No one paid attention to it. No one, maybe some people saw it, but they were like, this is none of my concern. I have my money. I have a way to take care of my family and all of that. Then that problem did not just stay there because no, it will move to become more problems. And that is what we are seeing now. That is what we are seeing every day. So that's another proof that the problem that you are neglecting, the problem you are choosing to cry over, they are choosing to lament over, it will not stay as that problem. It will not remain in that state. It will look for a way to become more problems. You to think about it. Those things that you decided to neglect, then those little problems you decided to neglect, then because you felt it's none of your business, you don't have the time and money to try to provide solution to it. Try and think about the state of that problem now. The only reason why that problem, the only reason why the effect of that problem has not intensified or is not worse now is maybe because someone decided to take action. Maybe someone decided to think about it and provide solution to it. That's the only reason why the problem may not exist again. But if no one has done anything concerning it, check that problem now. Check the state of the problem. You see that it is now worse. It is now worse than before. So, if you want to be a solutionist, if you want to be someone that solves problem, you need to understand that to every problem you see, just because you can't provide solution to it doesn't mean you should neglect it. It could be that you have to work with someone. It could be that you have to reach out to someone that you know can solve that problem. It could be that you have to pray about it. It could be that you have to ask questions concerning it. Just don't let that problem be like that because you cannot do anything about it. No. Remember, you should not be the reason why that problem will become more problems. You should be the reason why the problem should die, not become more problems. Because if you are not doing anything about it, my dear, that problem will not be static. It will not wait. It will what? Because one of the things that make problem thrive is our negligence towards it. When we neglect them, when we decide to do nothing about it, it thrives. The same applies with solutions too. Yes, we are talking about problems, but at the same time we need to also talk about solutions too. But I want you to understand something, that every single thing I'm saying about problems, the opposite of it is what solution is about. Now, I mean, solution is also a living thing, but I'm talking about the characters now. When we say problems, when we say that our negligence towards, or let me put it this way, I said problems can move, right? I want you to also understand that solutions can move too. Just like how problems, we said problems can move from one place to another, become more problems when we do not pay attention to it, when we are negligent towards it. But for solutions, when we pay attention to a particular solution, when we pay attention to when we pay attention to a particular solution, we can get more solutions from it. Now let me use our phones for example. You have a phone. The phone is a solution to a particular problem, right? Now when you make use of the phone to when you make use of the phone to transfer money to someone that is in great need for that is in need of that money, or when you try to close a deal, make use of that phone for business affairs, that is also a solution. So the phone is not just the solution. You've made use of the phone to get more solutions by helping someone that is in need, by also providing more money for yourself, and all of that. So problem is not the only thing that moves. Solutions can move too. But remember, there's something that is similar with these two things. Someone is paying attention to, someone is deciding to do something. So it's because you decided it's because you decided to neglect a particular problem. That is why it became more problems. The same way with solution. It's because you decided to pay attention to that solution. That is why it bet more solutions. So you now need to decide, will you be the problem or will you be the solution? Because if you are neglecting that problem by not paying attention to it and just allowing it to move to become more problems, then we can say you are a problem. But when you are saying that, when you decide to position yourself as a solutionist by ensuring that you provide solution to that particular problem, then you are positioning yourself as a solution, or let me say we can call you a solution. So it is left to you to decide, do you want to be a problem or you want to be a solution? Now that's for movement. I'm sure you understand the aspect now. So let's move to the aspect of respiration. Remember Mr. Ninjadi. So the M, then the R is respiration. Respiration for living things, for humans, is just the ability for us to breathe in oxygen and then breathe out carbon dioxide, right? So there are two gases there, oxygen and carbon dioxide. But I want you to know that let's put it this way: the main purpose for breathing in oxygen, breathing out carbon dioxide, is to promote our growth, right? Because if those things are not existing, we will not be able to grow. We will not be able to, in fact, exist. We will not be able to keep living on Earth. The fact that we can respirate is what is promoting. Or let me put it this way: the fact that we can respirate is a proof that we are living thing. So the same applies to problem. That means problem is also breathing in something and breathing out something too. Just like how we have oxygen and carbon dioxide. Those two are gases, right? But then they are unseen gases. Or let's put it this way: since those gases are also elements, we can say they are unseen elements. Now I want you to understand we also have two unseen elements that make problem to thrive, that make problem to exist as a problem. For human beings, it's not just oxygen and carbon dioxide that promotes the activity respiration. There are other gases, but the two important ones are oxygen and carbon dioxide. And the same also applies to problems. There are other things that tends to make problem, let me say respirate, yes. But the two important unseen elements that makes problem to thrive, that makes problem to become more problems, are will and emotions. So instead of oxygen and carbon dioxide, which is for human, for problem it is will and emotion. So those are two important things that can make that problem to become more problems. Those are the two important things that can make that problem to become more worse. Do you understand? So now, what is your will? What is your emotion? Your will represents your intentions or your choices. Or let's just simply put it as what you decide to do. So what you decide to do is your will. Your intention is your will. What you choose to do is your will. While your emotions represent your feelings or your responses to the situations around you. It could be your response to a particular experience or a response to a particular emotion. More like jealousy. Jealousy is an example of an emotion. Anger is an example of emotion. Hatred, worry, and all of that, they're examples of what emotions. But how does these two things, how do they make problem thrive? How do they make problem a problem? Okay, this is it. When you encounter a particular problem and then you decide to neglect it, something happened there. You decided to neglect it, right? That means your will was that I don't want to do this. I don't have time for this. That's your decision. So you can see that it is because you were willing to what, to just let it go. You chose to what, to not attend to it. Maybe indirectly or directly, your will was that you don't want to pay attention to it. What happened? That problem will become more problem. So that thing will be a problem when you decide to what, to neglect it. So when you breathe in that kind of will, what will come out is what is the problem. Do you get my point? The same applies to emotion. Remember I said examples of emotions, it can be fear, it can be sadness, it can be anger, it can be jealousy, it can be guilt, it can be wickedness, it can be pride. So when you encounter a particular problem, you're like, this is not worth my time. More like pride, right? That's the emotion that is working at that moment. This is not for me. I can't be wasting my time with this. This is for people that don't have enough work on their hand to do. These are the kind of people that waste time on things like that. The summary of what you are trying to do right there is you are neglecting it. And remember, when you neglect that problem, it will not stay there, it will not remain there with the effect, with the consequence, and no. It will become what? It will become more problem. It will intensify. That's another thing about it. When you are scared to solve a particular problem, that's an emotion, fear. That problem will what? It's more like an avenue for that problem to what? To become more problems, to cause more harm. When you are angry, imagine someone mistakenly stepped you, and then you got angry. You started shouting that it is your right to walk on the path you're actually working on. That person is meant to turn to another side, and the person is not meant to face you. The person is not meant to do this. And then you are wasting time. Whereas there is something very important that you're meant to work on. Maybe a particular business you need to close, because when you're trying to do that kind of business, you're actually trying to solve a particular problem. But because you've wasted time, because you decided to allow that emotion, anger, to have dominion over you, to rule you, you made that problem to what? To thrive. You made that problem to become something that you were not able to solve. Because of course, if you did not respond to that client, the client will move on to another person, and that's the aspect whereby the problem may not thrive again, but someone else is providing solutions to it. But then you'll be missing out something. Your money gone, because you decided to allow anger to rule over you. It will be sadness. Some people may be so sad. Okay, some people may be so sad to the extent whereby when they see a particular problem that they know they have the solution to it, because of what they are feeling at that moment, they can decide to not do anything about it. And remember, when you are not doing anything concerning that problem, when you decide to just leave the problem the way it is, or when you decide to not provide solution to that problem, it will not wait for you. It will thrive and become more problem, except someone else comes to do something about it. So that means we need to understand that our will and emotions can make that problem become more problems. Therefore, we need to take certain steps in understanding the kind of emotions we have. Ask yourself, meditate, reflect on your actions, and see if you have anger issue. See if your own is jealousy, if your own is fear. Check yourself out and try and start to work on these things, because these things can stand as what? It can stand as an hindrance to you. It can hinder you from achieving a lot of things. It can hinder you from what? From becoming a solutionist. So instead of wasting time to worry and waste time in doing many other things that does not matter, why don't you take time each day and try and think about, reflect on your actions. Okay, wait, what happened today? Who did I speak with? Did I react in a way that I was not meant to react? Okay, what sponsored that action? Was it anger? Was it pride? Was it jealousy? When you start thinking about this thing, you'll be able to know what to work on. And when you start working on those things, when you are faced with something that you have the solution, that you have solutions to, or when you are faced with something that you know that when you can work towards getting a solution to, your emotion will not be the one hindering you. You will be able to what? You'll be able to do what you are meant to do. And remember, your emotions can sponsor your what? It can sponsor your will. When you allow anger to rule over you, it will be you will start to make decisions that are sponsored by that emotion rather. So you need to understand that when you breathe in the wrong will, the wrong emotion, you bet more problems. Now the same applies to solutions. Just like how problems thrive with the help of will and emotions, solutions also thrive with the help of will and emotions. But then it has to be the good will and the good emotion. So when you begin to work on that wrong emotion you have, that bad emotions you have, and begin to work on it, and then you begin to do things the right way, have the right emotion, be able to control your emotions so that you can get things done, then you won't cause more problems. In fact, you'll be able to bet more solutions from solution. You'll be able to bring an end to problem because you will be able to see things from a different perspective. When you see a particular problem, even if you are going through stuff, you are going through certain things, you will not be seeing what you are going through. You'll be able to see that, okay, wait, if I allow this particular problem that this person is narrating to me, if I decide to neglect this particular problem, this problem will not remain the same. In fact, it will try to become more problem. When you begin to see things this way, you'll be able to provide more solutions to it. So that means your will and your emotion can change the way you think. Do you get? So having a good will and emotion will help you, will position you as a solution. It will not make you a problem, it will make you a solution. But when you decide to allow the wrong will and emotion to rule over you, you are becoming a problem. Because if you are causing more problems, then it means you are actually the problem. So let's understand that. Let's do well to check ourselves every day to see what we need to work on, to see what we need to the books, so that when we get to know what we need to work on, we'll be able to know the books we should read, we'll be able to know the kind of podcast to listen to, we'll be able to know the kind of people we need to reach out to, we'll be able to know the kind of conversations that we need to have. So checking yourself, reflecting on yourself will help you to know the state you are in and what you need to work on. So let's not joke with our will, let's not joke with our emotions, because it has a way of deciding if we are a problem or we are a solution. So you now need to decide, do you want to be a problem or do you want to be a solution? So let's move on to the third one, which is nutrition. Remember what we are doing, Mr. Nigeria. We are trying to understand what problems are. So nutrition, for humans, the nutrition applies to the aspect whereby we say that living things can eat. They can take in food from their surroundings, and the main purpose for this food is to help them grow, or more like to say to provide energy. So that means there's something that helps problem to fulfill its purpose, which is to cause more chaos, to cause more death, to cause more delay, and many other things, to affect relationships and all of that. So there are certain things that when you give to problem, when you feed problem with those things, it will make it thrive. Now there are a lot of things, just like how we have different kind of food, like we have a lot of food, a lot that can make human beings to grow, that can provide them with energy, right? So the same applies to problem. We have a lot of materials, or let's say a lot of food that can be given to problem, that problems can feed on. to thrive. But I'll just be talking about three of them. And the first one is ignorance, the second is time wastage, and the third one is problematic content. So these three things are like food to problem. That when you feed it with it tries to become more problems. It intensifies. So for ignorance, when problem sees that there is no knowledge about its existence, when it sees that there is no understanding about it, when it sees you lamenting, when it sees you crying, when it sees you shouting, when it sees you not doing anything about it because you just don't know what to do, it makes it to thrive. Don't think that because you don't know what to do, the problem will maybe pity you and reduce. We don't rule by embracing self-pity. In fact, it's just like how when you pour petrol in a burning, when you just add petrol to something that is already burning already, it intensifies. That thing gets to burn faster. So it's the same way with you lamenting, trying to pity yourself, embracing self-pity and love, that it makes the problem to thrive. That's an avenue for it to cause more trouble. So that is one thing that makes that's one of the things that makes problem to thrive. You're not trying to learn anything, you're not trying to read anything. That's you feeding on, that's you embracing ignorance. And remember, it is what you embrace that will determine if that problem will thrive or not. And if you are settling for ignorance, then you are actually positioning yourself as the problem, because you cause more problems. So if you are the one causing more problems, that means you are already the problem. Do you get my point? Now the second one is time wastage. Okay, let me put it this way: problems feed on activities that waste time. That problem will thrive. That problem will become more problems when you yourself feed on activities that waste your time. That means you engage in activities that will not help you grow, that will not help you discover your potentials, that will not help you to become someone better. When you engage in things like that, you watch reels that will not help your life, you read books that will not help you, just wasting your time. That's an avenue for that problem to thrive. So when you think you are enjoying yourself, you are relaxing, but then what you are feeding on is rubbish, total rubbish, just know that problem that you think that you are still struggling to get out of, that problem that is around you, it will become more problem. It will not stay. Remember, problems are never static. It is not possible. So you need to know what exactly you are spending your time on. You need to evaluate it. Wait, what exactly is this thing doing to my life? How is it helping me? I've also I've also engaged in things that wasted my time. Watched movies that wasted my time, read books that wasted my time. Yes. And those problems that I was facing then there was no solution no solution was preferred to it until I left those things and I started facing it, that so don't you ever think that some people this actually happens sometimes, whereby you are facing a particular problem and then what you think is, let me go and watch this particular movie. And remember, not the movie that will help you. It's not the movie that will help you that these people are watching. They think they can run away from their problem. But the thing is, when you run away from that problem, when you go back, you will not meet that problem at the same state where you left it. It would have become more problems. You would even be surprised that was it not just this thing? Was it not just this particular thing I was going through? How did this thing multiply? How did it become? You will start wondering, but that's just the truth. So time wastage. When you serve your problem with time wastage, it will thrive with it. So we have the third one. I think I said 3, right? The third one is problematic contents. These are just contents that cause more problems. It's still kind of related to time wastage because, so there are contents that cause more problems, contents that will not help your life. There are books and movies that you consume, you read or watch, that give you butterflies in your stomach, and then you're thinking, I'm so happy, I'm this, I'm that. But then when you check it deeply, when you go through it, you are like, and you ask yourself that, what exactly this thing had to my life? And you're unable to point out to one particular thing. My dear, just do that you just fed on, or you just read or watched something that is problematic. When you watch something that is problematic, it will definitely cause you problem. So the moment you are engaging in things that will not help your life, the moment you are doing things that will not help you, like spending your time on irrelevant things, things that will not add anything to your life, just know that that problem that is meant to be solved by you will not get a solution to it from you, but rather it will try to become more problems, except someone else what prefer solutions to it. That's why you need to have this mindset that you have a replacement. If you don't do what you are meant to do, you will be replaced like quickly. And the thing is, there is a reward to every problem you find you prefer solution to it too. You may not be able to get the reward at that particular moment, but you need to understand that there is definitely a reward to it. So imagine the reward you are meant to get to be is passed to someone else. That means I don't want to imagine that for you. But please know that these three things, you should not what? You should not serve problems with. You should not feed on them. Because if you are feeding on them, you are allowing that problem to what? To thrive. There are a lot of problems that you were created to solve. But if you are not paying, if you are paying attention to these three things I just mentioned, you will not be able to provide solutions to those what? To those problems. So let's understand that so that we can be able to provide solutions to the problems that we are meant to provide solutions to. Now let's move on to the third one, which is irritability. Mr. Niger, right? So the I is irritability. So we can also call it sensitivity. Is either irritability or sensitivity. Now we all know that all living things, this applies to the fact that all living things are able to respond, they're able to sense and respond to stimuli. Stimuli in the sense that it could be that they are able to respond to light, to temperature, and all of that, right? So this is where the sense organs comes in. We have, of course, human beings we have sense organs, right? And these sense organs that helps us to be able to respond to stimuli. The only reason why you cough is because you were able to perceive something that sponsored that response, which is you coughing. The reason why you can itch your eye, you can scratch your eyes rather, is because something entered it, or you saw something that prompted that particular that response or that action. So all living things, every living thing are able to sense and respond to stimuli. So the same applies to problem. Now, to everything I've been saying, I've said that problem will move because of this, problem will move because of that. That is a response. There is something that the problem sensed. It is because that particular problem has been able to sense whatever it is that it sensed. That is why it can thrive. So problems cannot thrive because that aspect of it moving to become more problem is a response. It cannot take any action. That means it cannot either become more problem or become a solution, in the sense that maybe a solution was preferred to it, right? Those things cannot happen except those things cannot happen when it has not sensed anything. So it's because it was able to sense something. That is why it was able to react. That is why we are able to see the result of the result of whatever it is that happened. Do you get my point? So it was because that problem was able to sense the kind of emotion you have, the kind of will you have. That was why you were able to see the response that came from it. Remember, if it is a wrong will and a wrong emotion, it will bet more problem. The response is the more problem. What it sensed is the wrong will and emotion. But it will bet a solution, or a solution will come out from it when it sensed that, oh, this is a good will, this is a good emotion, this is the right will, this is the right emotion. Do you get my point? If what the problem sensed is someone who is trying to learn more, someone is trying to understand things better, someone is trying to create a good kind of relationship, someone who is trying to work on his or herself, someone who is trying to watch the right kind of videos, someone who is trying to reflect on his or her life, someone who is trying to do things that would help that person. If these are the things that the problem is sensing, the response towards it will not be more problems. In fact, it will be solutions, because the problem will die because of it. Do you get? The response is that the problems will die and then solutions will be bettered. So just understand that. So just this is just for those of us that think, for those of you that think that regardless of what you do, nothing can happen to the problem, you cannot provide solutions to that problem. No, that problem can sense things and it can respond to it. So if what you are doing is, as long as you are consistent with that action to that action that would help bet a solution, that would help bring an end to that particular problem, just know that there will definitely be a response to it. But don't just give up because you tried it once and then nothing happens. When you're trying to break a hard stone with an hammer, when you try it once and it does not break, does that mean it will never break? No. But when you start applying more pressure, you call for help, you ask questions on the kind of machine you can use just so you can break that stone into pieces. Won't it break into pieces? It will break. So maybe what you just need is for you to ask more questions. Maybe what you need is for you to meet more people, for you to work with more people, and all of that. So don't have that mindset that regardless of what you do, nothing will happen, that problem will still be that. No, it can sense what you are doing. It can sense the kind of thing you are doing. It can sense the kind of action. It can sense the way you are responding to it. It can sense the things that you are doing. And whatever it is, based on what it senses, that it will give a response. So it cannot just give any kind of response. It is based on what it has sensed that a response should be response will be, should I say, bettered, or a response will be seen. Now let's move on to the next character, which is growth. Yes, growth is just the increase in size and cell number for humans, right? So for problems, I want you to understand that problems can grow. Problems will not just remain in the same state it can grow. If you want, okay, we all know that one of the things that helps human beings to grow is what we eat, right? Respiration also plays an important role in promoting growth. And when I'm sure you can still remember what we said about respiration and nutrition. So if you want the growth of that problem to be faster, let me put it that way, that means you need to give it those things that would make the growth to become more faster. You have to give it more of it. Okay, let me put it this way. We said I said problematic contents can make problem grow, right? I said ignorance can make it grow. I said time wastage can make it grow, right? So that means if you want that problem to grow faster than it is, what you just need to do is to give it more problematic content. What you just need to do is to waste your time the more. What you just need to do is to embrace ignorance the more than you used to. That means you need to embrace more of bad will and emotions. That means you don't need to reflect. You don't need to work on yourself. You don't need to think about. You don't need to ask yourself questions that has to do with you finding out the kind of emotions you have. The more you do those things, the more the problem will grow. But if what you want is to kill that problem, is to ensure that problem stops growing, then you have to do the opposite of it. That thing you don't want to pay attention to, that time you don't want to create for you to reflect, that 5 minutes you don't want to sacrifice to reflect on yourself, reflect on your day, reflect on the activities you engaged in that day. So all these things have a way of determining if that problem will grow or if it won't grow. So you have the ability to decide if the problem should grow or not grow. And remember, when you decide to do what will make it grow, it means you are positioning yourself as a problem. But when you decide to do the opposite, it means you're positioning yourself as a solution. So if you don't understand that problems grow, there's no way you'll be able to work. There's no way you'll be able to provide solution to it. There's no way you'll be able to sacrifice certain things because you have the understanding that, wait, if I don't do anything concerning this, if I don't sacrifice this just to ensure that I get that problem solved, I will not be able to I will not be able to provide a solution to it. So let's move on to the next character, which is excretion. Yes, problems. Okay, all living things excrete, right? If there's someone that cannot excrete, that is either that person is rushed to the hospital and all of that, right? So problems also excrete. We all know that what human beings excrete is called waste products, right? So the same applies to problems. Problems excrete waste products, but the waste products that humans excrete is different from the waste products that problems excrete. If problems does not, if this problems does not excrete these waste products, it will not thrive, it will not cause more problem actually. So that means the reason why problem will excrete this waste product, which I will explain, which I will tell you about, is because it thrives based on that process. That means if the problem does not excrete that waste product, it will not thrive. So it is because it wants to thrive, that is why it excretes the product. So, and of course you have the ability to decide if you want it to thrive or not. So what is this waste product? The waste products are your potentials. Yes, that potential you have, that gift, that talent, that thing that God has blessed you with, that thing that God has placed in you. What the problem, the aim of that problem is to ensure that it takes it out of you. Just when it takes it out of you, that it will be able to what? To be able to thrive and turn you, make you the problem. Do you get my point? So, if you choose to do nothing about the problem, if you choose to cry, like I said earlier, choose to lament, choose to eat chocolates, buy ice cream, watch movies that will not help your life just because you are facing a particular problem. See, just know that your potentials, those things that you still have, that people are still admiring you for, those things that people are still appreciating you for, that, oh, she can do this, she can do that, those things will be out of you if you do not stand up, leave those rubbish and get to work and do what you're meant to do. Because little by little, those potentials you have will be what will be excreted out of you. And imagine those things that make you who you are. Imagine it's being excreted out of you. That means you become okay. That means you become nothing. Yes. So this is for you to understand that problem, it has problem itself get mission and vision. That problem has mission, it has vision. And the mission, one of the vision it has is to make you to not have any potential, make you to be less of potential, make you to, in fact, not just less, like have no potential. So if you decide, it is what you now decide to do, what you decide to get into, that will determine if the purpose or the vision of this problem will be fulfilled or not. Do you get? Now, the same way problem also excretes waste product, that's the same way solution also excretes waste products. Now, but solution will help you excrete the right waste products, the ones that you don't need. More like pride, fear, doubt, lust. So the moment you start positioning yourself as a solutionist, as a solution, you begin to discover certain things that you don't need. You begin to discover certain things that cannot help you on your journey of becoming a solution. And by discovering it, you start to work on it. You start, okay, is it fear? You begin to work on fear. What do I need to read about fear? What do I need to read about lust? What do I need to read about pride? What do I need to read about anger? What do I need to read about jealousy? How do I work on it? When I begin to do things like that, I begin to learn on how to do this. When I begin to work on these things, you begin to excrete it out of your body, out of yourself, little by little. And then by doing that, you are already positioning yourself as a solution and not as a problem. Do you understand? All right, so let's move on to the next character, which is reproduction. We'll be talking about Mr. Ninja, MRNIG. So now now we are at the aspect of reproduction. So yes, reproduction is mainly the ability to produce offspring, right? For human beings, the ability to produce offspring. So I want you to also know that problems produce offspring. Problems produce offspring. Yeah. That means we can have a parent problem, and we can also have the offspring problem. And I want you to understand that parent problem, let me put it this way, that offspring problem can be more intense than the parent problem. In fact, most times it is more intense than the parent problem, just because that problem is what bettered the other problems you see. It doesn't mean that those problems will be less intense than what actually brought you to life. That means the parent problem. No. So that's to let you know that, wait, if I'm not doing anything, this particular problem I'm just seeing as okay, I'm just seeing as little and all of that, it can birth more problem. And always have it at the back of your mind that whatever that problem is giving birth to will not be less than it. In fact, it will be more than it. Do you get? Because I think most people do say this when a parent has an anger issue now, and then the person gives birth to a child and the child does not work on it. Most times the child, the anger issue that the child will, okay, the child's own is always more than that of the parent. Yes, the parent might have caused a lot of harm and all of that, but the thing is the child will cause more harm than what the father did or than what the parent did if the child does not work on it. The same applies to problem. That problem that you think it's nothing, if you do not work, if you do not do what you are meant to do, if you do not position yourself as a solution, I want you to know that it will become more problems. Now, I want you to also understand that as solutionists, we don't rejoice too much over a particular solution we're able to profile, or over a particular problem we're able to bring an end to. Yes, it's okay to rejoice, it's okay to be happy and all of that, but we don't rejoice. We are not meant to rejoice too much to the extent whereby we get too excited that we are unable to get to work again, that we're unable to profile more solutions again. The thing is, when this happens, we tend to give birth to more problems. Yes, because when this happens, we may not see the need to do more. We may not see the need to bring about, to profile more solutions. And when we are not seeing the need to profile more solutions, that means we are doing the opposite. We are leaving out. We are deciding to not pay attention to any problems around us, because there will definitely be one problem around us that we are neglecting. So do not be so clouded, do not be so blinded with that solution you were able to profile, so much that you are not interested in profiling any solution again. That is one thing. That is what one thing excitement, too much of excitement can do if we are not paying attention to it. So let's take note of that, because that's another angle. That's another angle for seeing this character called growth. So let's move on to the last one, yes, which is death. Yes, problems can die. That problem can die, regardless of how intense it might be, regardless of the consequences, regardless of the cause, regardless of where it is coming from. Yeah, let me put it that way. Regardless of where it is coming from, the problems can die. And also, yes, solutions can die too. The previous example I stated, whereby I said that when we rejoice too much over a particular problem, it can lead to we giving birth to more problems, or it can lead to the occurrence of more problem. That's an example of how solutions can die. Do you understand? So, and based on everything I've been saying, one of the ways in which you can make problem die is by taking away every other character I've said. That means the aspect of movement. When you stop problems from moving, stop it from respirating, stop it from eating, stop it from growing, stop it from being sensitive. When you stop it from every other characters I've stated, you will be able to bring problems to death. That means you'll be able to bring an end to problems. So you want to profile solution, make sure you stop problems from moving. You want to profile solution, make sure you stop problems from feeding. Make sure you stop problems from growing. Make sure you stop it from being sensitive. When you can do all these other 6 things, I think everything here is 7, right? So when you can stop the other 6 characters when you can stop them from existing, yes, then you'll be able to bring an end to problems. If you can consistently engage in the activities that will bring an end to that problem, then you will definitely be able to bring an end to problems. So do not accept the idea that no problem. Like, you do not accept the idea that certain problems cannot be solved. No. If you can stop the other cis character from existing, if you can take it out of the picture, you will definitely be able to solve the problem. But we all need to have we need to have it in mind that it is not an easy thing, but it is very, very possible. Because we are backed by the one that can do anything, that can make impossible things become possible. So why should we, his creation, why should we that he created in his own image, why should we not be able to solve that problem? Why should we not be able to solve that difficult problem? So we need to deal with that wrong mindset, right? So I'll be able to get the right things done. So with every single thing I've said, I believe that we now understand what problems are. And trust me, now that understanding is in place, you will be able to see what you need to do. You'll be able to know what you have to do when you encounter a particular problem. You'll be able to know the kind of emotion you should have. You'll be able to know if you are meant to suppress a particular emotion or control a particular emotion, so that you can just proffer solutions, so you can prevent a particular problem from becoming more problems. So my advice to you all is that you should position yourself as a solution and not as a problem. It is not easy, remember, but it is possible. So thank you very much if you listened up to this point, you are amazing. You are so amazing. In fact, you are a solutionist. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you so much. Thank you once again, Creative Icon, for having me here. Thank you.
Wow. My God. I'm feeling hit. Thank you so much, Iyanuoluwa. Thank you for blessing us with this heavy knowledge. This is not, one knowledge you can find on ChatGPT or one you just find anywhere. It is not possible. It is too impossible. The impossibility, or the level of impossibility, is too much. Too much. My God. Wow, I hope you learned something. And please don't forget, if you have questions, put them in the comment section or send it to my DM. My details are on the cover of this episode. If you want to reach out to Iyanuoluwa as well, I'll be having a collaboration post with her on my Instagram, so you can meet her on Instagram, and from there connect with her on WhatsApp and join our community, or there is a way to just reach her. If you just want to reach her, just let me know, and I'll give you straight access to her. So thank you for listening. Thank you for coming to this episode. God bless you.